When you hear the word Metasploit, you probably think of those crazy hacking scenes in movies, right? But in the real world of cybersecurity, it's this incredibly powerful framework that professionals use every single day for testing and for defense. So today, we're going to break down the methodical workflow that really separates an expert from an amateur. Let's get right into it.
And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. Metasploit is not some magic hack button. It's a tool that takes all the detailed information you've already found and gives you a way to act on it. It's all about amplifying what you, the operator, already know. So, we're going to follow this exact path. We'll start with the super important work you do before you even launch the framework, then we'll walk through a live exploitation, and finally, we'll tie it all back to why these skills are absolutely essential for building strong defenses. Okay, this first step is probably the most overlooked, but honestly, it's the most critical. The success or failure of what you're doing is often decided long before you even type MSF console. It all kicks off with careful, precise reconnaissance. Here's the high-level game plan. Notice something? Exploit is dead last. It's not the first thing you do. You scan to see what's out there, you identify the specific software and its version, you research its known weaknesses, and only then do you even think about exploitation. It's like a funnel, getting more and more precise.
So everything hinges on this right here. We run a simple Nmap version scan against our target, and boom, the output gives us pure gold. Not just that there's an FTP server, but the exact version, VFFTPD 2.3.4. This single piece of information is the key to everything that follows. Without it, you're just flying blind.
All right, now that we have that golden nugget of info, that version number, we can finally enter the framework. But we're not just barging in. A professional mindset is all about being precise from the very first command you type.
So we launch the Metasploit console. After a second, you get greeted with this MSF6/prompt. Think of this as your command center. This is where all the modules for exploits, scanners, and payloads are waiting for your instructions.
Now, this slide is where you can instantly tell a pro from an amateur. An amateur might just search for VSFTPD and get a huge, messy list of potential exploits. Most of them will fail. But a professional, they use the exact version number we just found, and the result is a short, targeted, and actually useful list. Okay, so we've done our homework, we've found our target module with laser precision. Now we get to move into the actual execution phase. Let's see how this all comes together to get us access.
Our precise search leads us directly to this one exploit, which is specifically designed for the version we found. We select it with the use command, and that loads it into our current context. We've basically found the right key for the right lock.
Now, this is a step a professional never ever skips. Before you run a thing, you type show options. This tells you exactly what information the exploit needs from you to actually work. In this case, you can see it needs rhosts, which is just the remote target's address.
Just like the options told us, we now have to configure the exploit. We use the set rhosts command to point the module right at our target's IP address, the one we found in our very first scan. See? No guesswork. We're just plugging in the data we've already gathered. And now the moment of truth. Our module is selected, our target is configured, so we just type run. The framework does its thing, and if the target is vulnerable, success. A command shell session opens up, and just like that, we have direct access to the target system.
So we're in. Game over, right? Not even close. For a professional, this isn't the end of the game at all. It's the beginning of the real work. The goal immediately shifts from getting access to careful assessment and gathering information.
Metasploit manages our new connection as a session. We can jump into it by typing sessions-I1. Once we're in, we run a command like who am I to figure out whose account we just compromised. And in this case, look at that. We're root. That's the highest level of privilege you can get. Now you should know that not all shells are created equal. What we have is a standard shell. It's great, it works, but it's just basic text commands. Meter Predator, on the other hand, is Metasploit's super advanced in-memory payload. It gives you all these powerful built-in features for post-exploitation without ever writing a new file to the disk, which makes it way stealthier. And this is exactly the kind of thinking that goes on after a breach. It's a series of questions. Who am I? What can I see? What else is running on this machine? The goal is methodical assessment to understand the security of the system, not to cause chaos or destroy anything.
Of course, in the real world, things don't always work perfectly on the first try. Exploits fail all the time. The difference between an amateur and a pro is how they deal with that failure.
So what do you do when you see that dreaded exploit failed message? You know, your first instinct might just be to try it again, or maybe just grab another exploit and hope for the best. But that's not how a professional handles it.
Instead, you go through a checklist. Did I get the version right? Am I pointing at the correct port? Is there a firewall in the way that's blocking me? Did I mess up my payload configuration? It's a process of elimination. And that last point really says it all. Professionals debug. Script kiddies just spam run over and over.
This all brings us to the most important question of all. Why even learn these offensive techniques in the first place? Well, the answer is simple: to build better defenses.
So why do professional penetration testers and internal security teams, the good guys, keep a tool like Metasploit in their arsenal? Well, the core idea is that you simply cannot defend against a threat you don't fully understand. You have to know the path an attacker would take so you can block it.
Defenders use this exact same workflow to check their own security controls. After they apply a patch, they run the exploit to prove it's fixed. They use it to see if their firewalls and detection systems are actually working the way they think they are. It's all about simulating an attack to find your own weaknesses before a real adversary does. And that brings us to our final and most crucial point. The tools themselves are neutral. The knowledge is incredibly powerful, but what separates a security professional from a criminal is a strict code of ethics. How you choose to use this knowledge is what ultimately defines you.